Hey everybody, Dimitri Panos here, and we're gonna take you inside out with it. We're gonna go inside out. A great episode today where we are as KDM, which stands for Kit Dimitri Movies. We're gonna talk Inside Out 2, and I, along with my good friend and co-host, who KDM wouldn't exist because I wouldn't have the K part of it.
And I
And
would have the D.
she would have the D. So um and the K is for Kid Bowen. Hey kid, it's been a minute.
Hi. Yes, it has. It has. I've been a traveling fool.
Yes.
So, but I'm back for this one at least, and I was very happy to see this film. So, you want me to just jump in?
Well, yeah. Well, you are really ready to
No, I'm
to,
just
to
saying. I
go
was just
inside out.
talking. I was like, okay, I need to
Yeah.
start. Okay.
No, so as we always do, we'll have some discussion. This will lead into talking about and reviewing Inside Out 2, and perhaps and who knows where the conversation goes from there. But Kit, why don't you start us off? What did you think of Inside Out 2?
Look, it's a very sweet film, and it's a. I think I read something that you had said. It's a very organic sequel to the first one, which was, introducing us to Riley, who, I guess when we first meet her, she's probably about 10 or something like that, and or 11. And, we go inside of her brain, and it's an entire network of all kinds of things going on. And you've got her five basic emotions, which is joy, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust. um, and they're all the things they end up having to do to make sure that Riley is the best person that she can be. So now we've moved forward, and Riley is 13, and we all know what it means to be 13 years old. I love the whole visual image of this big giant red button on their console that says puberty, and it's just blinking and it's blinking and it's blinking, and suddenly it just goes off like an alarm. I thought that was very funny.
Same
Um,
here.
yeah, so then we're introduced to all kinds of new emotions, including anxiety and ennui, which was very funny,
Ennui
and
was funny.
embarrassment, and then envy. All played brilliantly by the different vocal actors, especially Maya Hawke, who's the newbie who plays anxiety. But of course, we've got all of our familiar voices back again: Amy Poehler, Tony Hale as fear, Louis Black as anger, Phyllis Smith as sadness. Um, and we had a new person playing disgust. I can't, it was Kelly.
Liza Lapira
Yeah. Who was it in the
was
original?
discussed.
Kelly.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I could look
Yeah,
it
yeah.
up. In the
Anyway, so
original, yeah.
yeah. Oh, Bill Hader played Fear. That's right. He played Fear in the original. So now it's Tony Hale, which is,
What's he?
it's an easy,
What's he
easy,
too busy?
yeah, Mindy Kaling played Disgust in the original. So anyway, great story. Riley is now, sort of a hockey star, and she's going to be going to high school, graduating 8th grade and going to high school, and she's trying to get in with the cool kids on the girls hockey team for the high school and at a camp, and she ends up, you know, going through a myriad of emotions for all of that. um, Adventure. The only thing I can say that's not a positive, because it was a very you know good film. Same sort of energy that was from the original. The kids in the audience that I saw it with were really loving it. There's lots of good laughs. I just thought it missed just a little bit of that charm that the original had. I definitely didn't have as many feels with this one as I did with the original, especially with the imaginary friend. That just killed
Bing
me.
bong.
But
Yeah.
bing bong. But that's fine. That's it's not any saying anything negative against the sequel at all. It's just there was a charm to the first one that I felt, and this one kind of wasn't quite up to that standard. But again, we're talking about Pixar. They tend to do very well with their sequels. I mean, they don't always hit them out of the park. I would say Incredibles 2 was great, but wasn't as great as the first one. The only ones that they've ever done where literally every sequel's better than the is Toy Story, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know what it is about the Toy
well,
Story films. Certainly up to the first three. The fourth one,
let's
yeah,
talk
maybe.
about. I like the photo, but
I like the fourth one too.
I
I'm
want
just
to
saying.
talk Toy Story a little bit. I'll
Yeah,
bring
yeah,
it up, but remind us
yeah,
when I say us, the both of us,
yeah,
to
yeah,
try to talk because I kind of, yeah, but I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. But
Mhm.
again, this it's just such a lovely concept. That's what I loved about the first one. It was so original. The idea of your emotions running you, and the whole world that they build within her little brain, and that one and this one too. You just expand upon that. The sarcasm was very
Oh,
sarcasm. Oh my
don't
gosh, so
don't get me
funny.
started on the bad puns that were in this movie, but they were
Oh,
great. They were great.
so funny. So funny. So yeah, I enjoyed myself just almost
Yeah.
just as much as the first one. So and I think it's going to be a big hit for Pixar. I think they kind of need
All
one. So
right. Yeah. Yeah, they do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my take.
Yeah, okay. So I got to start off by, I have to invoke one of their earlier films. For me, Pixar was starting to lose it for a while, and
Mm.
then this dumb Lightyear movie came out,
Oh,
and for the life of me, I had always believed in Pixar. I always thought that they
me
earned
too.
every Academy Award, and there was a reason for that because they paid attention to story. And I want to talk about this world and what Pixar used to do fantastically, but they've
Right.
kind of fallen away from that. And of all my ratings and reviews, that movie Lightyear, it was a shocking first for me where I gave it the finger. That movie made me angry. Elemental is good. I mean, it's more back to form of Pixar.
Yeah.
And I think with Inside Out 2, they seem to be back on the right path. Now,
Right.
um, I want to talk, so Inside Out 2 and Inside Out. Okay, so what to me made Pixar fantastic and above and beyond the rest is they always dealt with heady subjects. Inside
Hmm.
Out is a fantastic example.
Yeah.
How do you explain what the hell is going on? And what Pixar was always great at doing is the first 10 minutes or so, give or take, of their movies was clever exposition.
Yes.
They educated you, the moviegoer,
Yeah.
as to this is what's happening. This is going to be the remainder of the movie.
Right.
If we want to pull you in, we're going to do it in an entertaining way. You're not even going to know that you're being educated, but we have to lay the ground rules. We're giving you the rules right up front so that you know what's going on for the rest of the movie, and then you're going to be invested and you're going to be drawn in. And
Hmm.
when you think through the history of Pixar, this goes all the way back to Toy Story, right?
Hmm.
Oh, toys talk. Okay, so what? No, there are rules in Toy Story, and
Hmm.
then once you get into that story, I mean, Toy Story, I mean, was their jumping off point. They really never looked back. Had Toy Story failed, I'm not sure we'd have Pixar. You
Right.
mentioned Toy Story. Look, I always put Toy Story up here.
Me
The
too.
other Pixars are like very close, but I have to kind of put them aside because to me, the Toy Story franchise has done what barely a franchise has ever done,
Yeah.
is make these amazing sequels when
I
they
know.
have no right to be as good as they are, but
I
they're better than the one
know.
before.
I know. It's crazy.
Now we come to Inside Out 2, and we're already familiar with the world, right? We
Right.
know what's going on, but I love that's the other thing is that Pixar never shies away from meaty material, and I think this is why they have that crossover. 13, Puberty, Riley, they're all relatable emotions that we've look, I'm not a parent, but I'm pretty sure I went through puberty. Some people may argue I haven't yet. Well, but it's everything is relatable on some level.
Hmm.
So there's not a whole hell of a lot of explaining that one might have to do
Correct.
to do it. And then they are able to make it heartfelt. They're able to make it tender. They're able to make it comedic. And
Hmm.
they're able to build on the world. And going into Inside Out 2, I'm like, okay, how are they going to continue to build this world with inside the world of emotions? And how do they do that? I thought they did it very well. I agree with you. I did get the feels many times, like through this. Bing Bong, the imaginary friend, like that was something again you just don't see coming,
Yeah.
but it all makes sense.
Yes.
So I do agree with you there, but it doesn't make the movie any less of a very good movie.
Yes.
And I want to talk about too, when we talk about Pixar and sequels, they're leaning into their sequels now a lot more. And I fear they're losing their original edge.
Yeah.
Toy Story aside, what movies have we had sequels to? Pixar movies. The Incredibles, as you mentioned,
Right.
Cars.
Cars, which I didn't like
Now,
anyway.
I'm a big Cars fan. Not so much Cars 2, but I did like Cars 3 a lot. Um, Inside Out, Finding Nemo, and
Right.
Finding Dory,
Dory.
pretty
Yeah.
good too, right?
Yeah.
Dory.
Yeah.
Now we're getting Moana, right? And
Right.
I'm like, did we
But
need a
Moana's
Moana?
not. Moana's not
Oh,
Pixar.
Moana's not okay. That's right. Saw the trailer last night. It does look good, right? So those are our Pixar movies. Can you think of something else? Am I missing a Pixar movie sequel that was
Yeah.
theatrical? I
You know
can't
what?
think
I'm
of
not
one,
even
right?
sure. There wasn't a second Bug's Life, was there?
Not theatrically. They may have done one of those direct to DVD thingies or shorts,
Right.
right?
Oh,
Okay,
Monsters
so
Inc. Monsters
oh, Monsters
University.
Inc. Oh yeah. Monsters University. Okay. All of those, I would argue, pretty decent sequels, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, but here's the thing with Inside Out. Of all of their movies, outside of Toy Story, again, Toy Story makes sense.
Hmm.
This one makes sense because when we leave Riley, she's gonna get older. And
Yeah.
puberty is such a change.
Yep.
And it makes sense to have a sequel with these emotions and
Right.
then bringing these new emotions in.
Right.
And it's also about having sense of self.
Right. Oh,
How
Wreck-It
do you
Ralph. That's another sequel.
Wreck It Ralph? Oh yeah. I forget what the name of that sequel, but Wreck It
It
Ralph
was Ralph turns the or
destroys
breaks
the
the
internet.
internet. Yeah,
Breaks the
breaks the
internet.
internet. Yeah, yeah. Which was cute.
It was cute, actually. So, um, I just thought this is such an organic IP to
Right.
make a sequel to,
Yeah.
because of course she's going to get older. So the kids are still going to relate in one way, shape, or form.
Right.
Parents can relate. A person who's not a parent can relate.
Of course.
The character Riley, I think, is so awesome because I love the fact that they chose hockey for her
Yeah.
to be great at, not like girls softball. It's hockey. It's go, and I just love that aspect. I love these new emotions coming in and just causing turmoil within her. And the original core were still so good and so protective.
Yep.
And I love again the we're gonna show mom's emotions and dad's
Yes. And their
emotions.
anxieties come back.
Yeah, it's just great. Listen, all in all, Inside Out, to me, further puts Pixar on the right path
Yeah.
to what they once were.
Yeah. See, now here's
And
the situation because, you know, again, I always held Pixar as the highest bar
high
to
standard.
ever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, some Sony Animation and some of the other animated DreamWorks, they've done some great movies. And I'm not going to fault them for that. But Pixar was always up here, right? But then
Yep.
the whole John Lasseter thing that occurred, and him leaving Pixar under not so great circumstances and all of that. I just think I think that's where it kind of fell down a little bit.
I do.
I don't know. I don't know what it was about Lasseter, but he seemed to bring this quality to Pixar that even Brad, I think, is it Brad Bird who's now running it? I can't remember
No, I
or
mean Brad
Doctor Pete
Pete
Doctor.
Pete Doctor, what?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so they're good and they can carry it on. But there was something about Lasseter's realm that really that's what made Pixar what they are. And so, like you said, I think they may have just lost their footing a little bit, and maybe they are trying to to get that back, get that magic back. Now, like I said, there's so much competition now. It could just be that Pixar isn't going to be the top of the line anymore, but that's okay too. They still make some great movies, but yeah, there was something about the magic of those first years of Pixar that I don't think they could ever recapture.
and to say, and again, look, not getting into Lasseter's, um, what happened. I think that Lasseter and team,
Mm,
Lasseter and team was lightning in a bottle.
yeah,
Okay, they were a team that worked on all cylinders.
yep,
Their ideas meshed. They seemingly had a good familial, like the people who worked at Pixar, like it was always great at the end of the Pixar movies, like Pixar babies, this
yeah,
production, Inside Out 2 production babies. And
yeah,
they always fostered that kind of thing. For the longest time, Pixar was independent. They had the distribution deal with Disney.
right,
And then when Disney went on their buying rampage, Pixar was, it made sense.
yeah, of course,
It made 100% sense. But I do agree with you. But I further instill, like, when Lasseter left and then he tried to, he made another movie for Apple, Luck, I think it was called,
right,
right? And it just didn't have that same spark of magic.
right,
He wasn't working with maybe a lot of those same creatives that he got to work with
yeah,
at Pixar, and there was something lacking in Luck. And like I said, for me, Pixar, even during the pandemic, when you look at, I'm a fan of Soul.
yes, that's a good
Soul is
one.
pretty good. Was it Turning Red? That was Pixar, or is that just Pixar
Um,
animation, or is that? I thought Turning Red
no,
might have.
Turning Red is not
Turning Red
Pixar.
is not. Um, I thought for
Yeah,
some reason.
Luca. Luca was kind
Oh,
of cute.
Luca, I liked a lot, and the using the Amalfi Coast. I mean, those movies kept me going throughout the pandemic. That
Yeah,
I could watch them, and I wasn't quite ready to go to a theater yet. But it's good that they're,
yeah. I'm sorry, Turning
like,
Red was Pixar. Sorry,
it
Turning
was
Red was.
okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And so when you look at Turning Red and you look at this movie, they're almost they're in that same age. The main characters are almost in that same age
Yeah.
category, and we're
Hmm.
dealing with different things. And I just like how Pixar was always able to make something that, like, how they educated me as the audience goer.
Hmm.
And I hope that they continue to release new material, like
Yeah.
original material. I do like this as a sequel. It was great to be back, but it also didn't feel like a money grab to me.
No.
Money
Mm-mm.
grab sequel. To me, it felt very
Yes.
organic and true, and it makes sense and it's
Yep.
honest.
Yep.
And that's the other thing about Pixar, is that their movies were honest about
Yes.
the emotions. Look
Yes.
at Wally, look at Up,
Oh.
like look at Coco. Look at these
Yeah.
movies.
I'm glad. You know what? I'm actually happy that I didn't cry
Oh,
Inside Out too, because I
I got
always cry at
weepy.
Pixar movies. Always.
I didn't like.
Think and see, is it the third Toy Story where they get sent to that daycare center and then they almost get burned in the incinerator? Is that the third one? Okay. Well, I was beside myself, and my two children were with me, and they were, slightly older, but not that much. They're both looking at me like, "Mom, are you gonna be okay? I'm never gonna throw another toy away again." I was just sobbing,
I know.
sobbing.
I know that. I know. And that's why I put Toy Story just in an upper echelon, because it did, when you think about what Toy Story accomplished for Pixar, but the industry as a whole, um, it just it's and from storytelling point of view as well, yeah, those movies to me, like, they are very special. And this one, Inside Out 2, as a sequel goes, I think it's up there. It doesn't
Right.
quite have maybe that heft of like Bing Bong, whatever, but from an
Yeah.
emotional standpoint, I understood what Riley was going through. I
Yeah.
also understood what her emotions were going through as well. And it was, it was sad, and it just works. It worked really well. And I think, again, they're just going back on track to entertain that families can go. And it resonates across the board.
Yeah. It
And that's
does.
where their movies,
Yeah.
you didn't have to be married and lose somebody, or you don't have to be a scrapper robot to, to understand.
Yeah.
And again, they also make the world beautiful.
Hmm. Oh
I
yeah.
saw it in Dolby. I don't know how you saw it
I
last
saw
night.
it
Did you
Dolby
watch it
too.
in
Yeah.
Dolby?
Yeah.
And it looked
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Beautiful.
Sounded phenomenal too, right?
Yep. Yep.
It, when a movie can drag you in and like just draw you in, and it's great spectacle to look at, so colorful.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too about Pixar. Like, when a character is doing something not exactly right, you're like going, "That's gonna bite that character in the back." Like, and we all understand about what it is to suppress memories,
Hmm.
to suppress the bad memories from a psychology standpoint. Like, yeah, they're all going to explode sometimes. So maybe that's not the
And
best thing
they're
to
gonna
do.
be mean when they don't really want to be mean. And yeah, I mean, look,
It doesn't perfectly.
it was just, it was great. It's great. And I,
Yeah,
like I
it
said,
really
the
is.
concept alone. Now, do I want a third Inside Out? I don't think so. I don't think so.
That's a great
Because
question, Kit.
then she becomes, she'll go into high school and then college, and then, you know, you already have all the emotions that you basically will have for the rest of your life,
Yeah,
in essence.
I don't know. I thought about that, and I'm like, oh,
Except for maybe
okay,
love and romance and stuff like that.
love, romance, but here's the thing:
But that's kind
once
of
you
joy and
start,
sadness.
well, it is, but I was thinking about the same thing, because at first I was like, oh, okay, let's work on the sequel. It's Are they gonna make a third? But then I'm like, you know what? If they do a sequel that kind of takes it out of the realm of being a child and a teenager, where those
Mm,
emotions work, and it's going to take it into a realm where a kid may not understand
right.
those concepts, because it's an older, like if Riley is in college, or if Riley is an adult,
Yeah.
and outside of, like, say, The Incredibles, which deals with the family unit, you
Right.
have you have mom and dad, and
Right.
you have Mr. and Mrs. Incredible. They're
Right. Uh-oh. Up, you've frozen up. Will you come back?
even when
Oh,
you're like, whoops.
go ahead.
Oh, so I just think that I agree with you. I don't know how they do it so that they leave out their core audience, which is kids, right? You don't want to make it,
Right.
or even young adulthood. Are we, am I losing?
You're kind of freezing up a little bit.
Am I? Oh,
Okay.
that's probably my computer's way of saying you
We should
think,
probably, we
shut
can
up
wrap it
already.
up here. Yeah. Okay.
Sure. All right. So what do you,
So
but what do
I'd
you
give this
give
a
Inside
solid
Out to?
4.5. 4.5 for me.
I know that you love working in halves, but I give it the solid 4. I think it's very good. And it was welcome too.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
felt it felt like the Pixar of yore.
Yes. Yes. It was a nice world to revisit.
It really was.
Because the first
And
one was so endearing and it was so creative and so interesting and you know, and just I just love that world. I do, and it was nice to be back in it.
it was nice, and I'm glad they didn't I'm
Screw
glad
it
they
up.
didn't cock it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't screw
So,
it up.
yeah. So uh
Let
excellent.
us
So
know what you think, right?
yeah, go Inside Out and tell us what you think of Inside Out 2. Tell us what your favorite Pixar movie is. What is, do you have a favorite Pixar? Do you have a favorite Pixar sequel?
There you go.
I think that's a tougher question.
Yes.
Outside of Toy Story. All right.
Oh.
Outside of Toy Story.
Mm.
Favorite Pixar sequel, favorite Pixar movie, and would love to know your thoughts on Inside Out 2. It's always welcome. And it's just tracking you down, Kit. I don't know where you are from week to week, but I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're well. And I don't know what we have to have a next
Well,
movie come
yeah, I
sometime
think maybe
soon.
it might be A Quiet Place day one. That might be our next one.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Be a good one. All right.
Yeah, because I'm going to miss the
So
bike riders, although I want to see it. So I'm going to end up seeing that one too. But that's next week, I think. The bike
yeah.
riders. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right.
So all
Well,
right.
stay tuned,
So
guys. We'll be back.
and thank you for watching, everybody. Thanks for clicking in and watching and being a great audience. Kit, thank you for being a great person. And we'll talk to everybody. We'll see you all at the movies.